Take two.
Hello.
We're back.
Welcome to Cosmic Cunts. This is our ASMR episode. Yeah. Does it sound wet?
Oh god. This just reminds me of the time, I think it was during like Bad Moms or the sequel. Kristen Bell had like just given birth or something, and she was like nursing, and she was like, screen recorded into the table read, but she thought that nobody would know that she was like pumping on the side. But I guess like they had her on a big TV. She thought she was just on like a computer, so they could hear the machine just like pumping in the background. And I guess me, like Kunis and Catherine, no, oh my god, I can't remember her
Catherine
name. But
Hahn?
no, not Catherine Hahn. What's her face?
No,
She was in WandaVision. Oh my god,
Catherine Hahn.
is that Catherine Hahn who played the villain in WandaVision?
Yeah.
Oh shit, okay. Yeah, they had to like cover for her and they're like, "Oh, it's okay. It's fine. It's fine."
Yeah, deadass. I mean, honestly, she was just fucking with our video. So, like, I don't know. Which one's better?
Honestly, as a
Fucking with a
society, we need to get more comfortable with women breastfeeding because it's such a natural, normal thing. And like society has made it such a
deadass.
taboo thing because for some reason men have deemed it as like gross and a weird private thing that they should not ever have to
Mhm.
see.
And it's also cultural, like I've noticed, because most of the women in my family, like, either couldn't or chose not to breastfeed. And
Mhm.
so I was like the first one of my cousins to do it. And I don't know, man, like breastfeeding around my family, like my mom would be like, "Hey, they don't need to see that." And I'm like, "What? What? What do you mean?" Uh, Nobody needs to see that shit. And I'm like, "My baby eating? Are you fucking kidding me? You just made me sit through a dinner where half these motherfuckers were chewing with their goddamn mouths open. I have
Yep.
misophonia. So, like, literally, I was triggered the entire time because I can hear the sloppy chewing. But me feeding my baby is what is like, nobody
Yeah.
needs to see that. Like, please, no. Please fuck right all the way off. And, like, I can't tell you how many times we've been in public, like, and I've had to feed my baby. My baby's hungry. I'm gonna feed my baby. And my mom will ask, like, "Oh my God, you have something to cover yourself with?" I'm like, "What the fuck? My baby's face is covering my boob. I don't know.
It's
Like,
also
do you want
so
to do that here?
stupid too
I'm in a
that
food court. It's
a man
food."
is allowed to rip off his shirt in public. He can be in a fucking gym. He can be on a sidewalk and rip his shirt off, have his nipples out. But God forbid you have to whip your nipple out for 2 seconds in public to feed your baby.
Yeah. Why do I
Like
have to be
I
subjected to
don't
seeing a
understand that
useless
logic.
ass nipple?
Yeah. Like I'm like, theirs literally don't do anything. They're decorative. Why are they allowed to have
Yeah,
theirs out and we can't have ours out? Ours at least are functional and helpful. We don't make cows walk
exactly.
around wearing bras.
Yeah, yes, thank you. Fuck all the way off. I'm sorry that society has sexualized boobs so much so that you're uncomfortable, like with me. Sorry, feeding my baby. If my baby's hungry, my baby's gonna eat. Like, that's it.
Yeah, that's something that's always driven me insane. Even since I was a kid, I never understood why the fuck my body was something that I had to be so aware of in order to
So
protect
ashamed
other
of.
people. Yeah, like I'm like, why do I have to care what other people think or whatever about my body? It's my fucking body. It's none of their business. Let me do my thing and like chill with my body, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Thank you.
One, it was also hard
It's
too, because like I grew up in the dance world, so like I shared changing rooms with boys. Like we were all just changing in front of each other. Bodies are not a big deal. Like
bodies
not,
are bodies.
yeah, we're all just like naked, whatever. But then, like growing up having that as part of my life, but also on the other hand, growing up Asian and being told that like I can't walk around the house in booty shorts because oh my god, like you're gonna make your grandpa like what if your grandfather sees your ass hanging out or like your uncle sees your ass and like that's so it was such a contradictory thing.
Dude, oh, that part. And like, yeah, same with Latino cultures. Like, I can't tell you how many times, like, as a teenager or a preteen, like wearing shorts in my house because I'm comfortable
Hmm.
and being told, oh, you better change. So and so's coming over. It's, who the fuck do you have coming over that I can't be in shorts? Like,
And
who
be
is it
comfortable
that
in
you're hanging
your own
around? Like,
home. Like
exactly.
it's
It's like, well,
your
then I'll
home.
just fucking leave if I'm not safe here. It's like, oh, no, it's not that you're not safe. So then why can't I fucking wear shorts? Oh, well, you don't want to make so and so uncomfortable. Like,
Like why is that your
excuse me?
responsibility?
Why? Yeah, exactly. It's like, well, if you think that I'm not safe or that I'm gonna make somebody uncomfortable, why don't you just have new fucking people over?
Yeah, literally. It's also like that's such a hard time for anybody, but especially, like girls, because again, society, all this shit. So like our bodies are changing. We're already so fucking insecure and confused and like uninformed, and things aren't talked about enough. So like we're so in our heads. Everything to us is like a new insecurity, a new fucking stressor. So to be told like you have to go change your shorts, you're gonna make somebody uncomfortable. That's a
Yeah,
trauma right there, like being inflicted, because that stays with you. Because you're like, okay, so
it,
that's one more reminder of like what's wrong with my body changing, like what's up, it
yeah,
becomes such an
yeah. It's my
internalized weird
fault,
thing. Yeah.
and this is why, like, like women who have been sexually assaulted, harassed, raped. It's like, people ask, like, why did it take so long to come forward? Sorry, I've internalized everything as my fucking fault. So
Yeah.
like, why would I be comfortable? Yeah, and it's what are we talking about? It's like and these traditional cultural values that really perpetuate protecting abusers. Um, and the other day you and I were talking about how money keeps coming up, and I was like, oh, my back has been really hurting. And then I'm suddenly like releasing shit, like the more we're talking about like being grounded. And I was like, why is my heart chakra the one that's fucked up when money is a very root chakra kind of thing, right? And so as I
I
delved
yeah,
deeper into that, it was like, I'm sorry, my entire life I was told that I didn't know what the fuck, right? It was like, oh, you just don't know. Or let me do this for you, whatever, or you're bad with money, even though I was like a teenager and learning. So, what does that tell me? I'm now internalizing I can't trust myself. I'm not safe with myself. Also, I can't trust anybody, apparently, and I'm not safe anywhere, apparently, because if I can't even wear shorts in my own home,
hmm
I am not safe.
yeah,
And so it wasn't just the root chakra of it's like now it's heart.
it affects a lot of
Where the fuck do I feel safe?
yeah, it affects everything too, because it also affects your sacral, because that's all of
Yes.
that kundalini energy too. So then like how you approach
Yes.
relationships, like I noticed for me, I'm now having a whole like crisis over my sexuality, where I'm like, do I actually enjoy sex with men? Like that's something I'm trying to figure out, where I'm like, how much of it is like what I thought I needed to
Conditioned.
do? Yeah, like, oh, I'm supposed to enjoy this. I'm here. This man wants me. So like I may as well, like how much of that, not that I'm putting anything on like the men I was ever with or whatever, but how much of my power was I giving away anytime I was with men, and
Yeah.
like did I ever actually want it, or was it just something I was conditioned to think I wanted and therefore I did?
Exactly. And it's like that and that's why we have so many people, and it's like obviously not just us, like so many people that we encounter on our day-to-day lives. Like, do we see somebody who like you're like, oh, you are clearly you are fabulous, and they're like, oh, my
Mhm.
wife, and it's like, how do I see you so clearly and you are with yourself all the time and you can't? But it's how much of it is conditioned, how much of it is cultural, how much
Mhm.
is religion. Like, I remember growing up, my mom, always brought me around her friends and vice versa, and she had always had a wide variety range of friends, right? Like she had me around her gay friends, around her non-Mexican friends, all of it. But the day that I told her, hey mom, I'm also attracted to girls. And what did I get? I got, you just want attention. It's like, so you can be really accepting of other people, which, like, how progressive of you as a Catholic. Um,
Hmm. But
but then
can't
when it comes to your
put
daughter,
that, yeah.
and then it was like, oh, and honestly, like, because that's my mom, I was like, oh shit, do I just want attention? Oh my God, what is that like? And so struggling with my sexuality for like all my fucking life, it's
Yeah.
like really fucking hard,
Well, then you never
and
learn to trust yourself too, because she it immediately told you you cannot
exactly.
trust your instincts. Because your
Yeah,
instincts were telling you
exactly.
something, and she told you don't trust your instincts. So you go, okay, I can't trust my instincts ever. So it's not even just your sexuality. I feel like that also would have probably affected like other shit too. Because like,
Yeah, yeah.
like that's your inner child being told never trust yourself.
You can't trust yourself to know yourself. You can't
Yeah,
trust yourself to make these big decisions, or you can't trust yourself to handle money. You can't trust yourself to go out into society by yourself. Like,
yeah. I love that you
how
brought
much
that up
are
because
we healing and releasing?
that's something I've been having to work through, and that's honestly what pushed me to move away from my family and finally just move to New York because I had to accept that like it wasn't healthy there. I'm like I'm constantly being told that everything my instincts are telling me, everything I know to be true isn't true. And being made to feel
Yeah,
like I'm crazy. Like I'm like, my mom has a degree in psych. She's worked as a behavioral health specialist. Her background's in counseling, master's degree. And I'm telling her, I think I have autism. I think I have ADHD. I'm explaining everything. I did the case study on myself. I'm coming in, matching her psych background. And she's still telling me, no,
not
you're
my daughter.
wrong.
No,
You're
no.
wrong. You're totally wrong. Like, I don't know what you're talking. I'm like, what the fuck? Getting that from everyone. I'm like, we all, my auntie also has a psych degree. I'm like, how do we have this many psych degrees? I'm the one who didn't graduate college. And I feel like
And I
I'm
know
the
more
one.
than all y'all.
No, like that's kind of what it feels like sometimes. I'm like, I'm the only
Tabs.
one actually having the conversations because like psychology is evolving. The DSM is evolving. We gotta evolve with the new
Exactly.
information, Like
Do you understand what the fuck a spectrum is?
literally.
I tried to explain to my mom, I was like, hey, like, we're getting our son tested for, like, autism because, and she literally, like, I felt it. I knew it.
Mhm.
I felt the energy. She moved her phone away from her so she could roll her eyes and throw her head back. And I was like, you understand, I'm so in tune with your energy. I know what you're doing. Like,
Yeah.
and it's like, she's like, you'll do anything to get him into school for free. And it was like, I'll do anything to make sure that my son gets the proper educational plan that
Yeah,
fits
and
his
help he
needs.
needs. I need people to realize that having a diagnosis, all it does is help the person be better set up for success because it allows them to
Yeah,
have something so that they can ask and advocate for resources for themselves. It's just a
literally.
helpful, because I mean, really, a diagnosis, yeah, it doesn't, like, you still have to put in the work to like help and like manage your symptoms, whatever. It doesn't change things at the end of the day. Everyone has shit they have to live with, obviously, but it does make a difference because you can advocate. You can say, hey, I have this, help me make
Yeah, you can
accommodations.
learn how your brain works, how your brain learns, so that way you're not sitting around feeling like, oh my God, everybody keeps telling me I have all this potential. Why am I not doing as
Yeah.
well as I hope? And then there goes your self-worth, your self-esteem, and like
Well, and
feeling
that's the
like
thing
you're
being
not
talked
enough.
about for late diagnosed neurodivergence because there's a whole grieving
The
process
gifted
for
child
us.
that's like
Yeah.
literally sitting on
But
the
like,
couch, like panicking.
and just in constant burnout, constantly stressed. And then as adults, we have to grieve the childhood we possibly could have had but didn't get to have because we didn't have that diagnosis protecting us or, like helping to protect us. Because unfortunately,
Yeah,
in the school system, unless you have a diagnosis, you're not protected. You're expected to perform the way all the other
perform.
kids are. You're expected to do all the tests. You're expected to behave the same way. Like you have, like, and if you're an undiagnosed neurodivergent or undiagnosed anything, you're expected to just be constantly masking and performing. And
And
it's
it's
such a
so
struggle to keep up
fucking
if you can't
hard.
keep up.
Yeah. yeah. And so, and I can't tell you, like, being neurodivergent, my husband being neurodivergent, my kids, especially the boy, like, being very clearly neurodivergent. It's like we gotta reassess, like, and I actually had a therapist recently who, like, I was vibing with, right? And I don't know
Hmm.
if I was like vibing because she like laughed at everything I said. So like my therapy session was like my comedy hour, right? Like I was practicing my material. And
Yeah,
but anyways, we were talking about like getting a diagnosis, and she's like, "Why do you want a diagnosis?" I was like, "Because I need help to understand my brain. I need to learn because I'm on this healing journey, but I have to be able to forgive myself for the shit that I can't do, and I need to know what the fuck that is. I don't know what I don't know.
yeah,
I'm just trying to gain some clarity, some perspective so that I can move forward, so I can be better, so I can show my kids what the fuck that looks like." And she was like, "Well, getting a diagnosis, like, it'll restrict you in some ways." And like that made me nervous. I was like, "What do you mean?" She's like, "What if you want a government job?" And I was like, "Oh, fuck. What if ever I decide to quit smoking weed and I like decide that I need a
completely
government
change who you
job?"
are, entirely change who you are, the entire core of your being. Like,
Exactly. And I was like, "Oh shit, man." I'm like, "Oh fuck. Ooh, you're right." And then she wasn't. And then she also stressed me out. She's like, "It's also like a 6 to 8 hour test." And I was like,
yeah,
like telling a neurodivergent is gonna take 6 to 8 hours. I was like, I can't focus. But that's like the whole point. That's the test.
yeah. For me, like I'm kind of okay with just having the official ADHD diagnosis because I needed that. Like I needed just proof that I could give my family of like I'm not crazy. Fucking see me. Like
Yeah,
I'm not crazy. I do know myself.
exactly.
Here's proof. Since you won't believe me, here's a doctor fucking saying that I know myself. And I do kind of
Yeah.
want that with the autism diagnosis for the same thing, but at the same time, it's 6 to 8 hours. That's a long
It's
fucking
six to
time.
eight hours. It's like, you know what? I know I'm on the spectrum. It's
Yeah.
enough.
And at this point too, like I'm also so fucking jaded by the Western psychology system. Like I don't trust those fucking hoes. I have so much trauma from therapists at this point. Like, and I'm
I
like,
can't, yeah.
they were supposed to be helping me work through trauma, but now I have more trauma that I gotta work through because of shitty fucking therapists and just a
Oh my
bad
God.
system.
Dude, and like, I can't tell you how many times, like, especially like when I was first starting out with therapy and I had to like test all the therapists through Kaiser and shit. And like, it, it was after being placed on a 5150.
Mm-hmm.
That was traumatizing, that whole event. But then therapists afterwards, like, having their little finger under the desk ready to press that little red button. It's like, oh,
Yeah.
hey, let's back it up. And then you have to like figure out what it is that you're sharing. It's like, how honest can I be without like being put back on hold,
Well, and especially as
And it's like,
spiritual
oh my
people,
God.
because of the way the psychology system is, it is so science based. It is not open to the spiritual realm. So
Oh my
I'm
God.
always so fucking
And
paranoid that I'm gonna get hit with like oh, you're just schizophrenic,
like,
because
no,
like
yeah, I was talking to my spirit guides.
yeah, like I'm like I can't go into a therapy
I'm like,
session and
what?
be fully vulnerable. There's always part of me I have to hold back. Like I could say like, oh yeah, I'm like
It's,
dealing with depression, but I can't say like, oh yeah, like last night I was crying under the full moon, like yeah, naked, trying to like beg my gods and
mm,
goddesses to
mm.
like help me out, because that's just gonna earn me a one-way ticket to an asylum.
My ancestors came to me with like really heavy shit, okay, that I need to heal, and like this is a big mission that I'm on.
Yeah,
Like people tend to like
Saturn,
look at you funny. It's like,
literally
well,
like
you know what it
Saturn,
does.
we are in eclipse season. Like I got shit coming up right now. They're gonna go,
Yeah,
sis, like meds.
they're like, okay, all right. So this bitch thinks that Pluto is fucking with her, so we're gonna just go ahead. You need medication.
Restraints,
Oh my God,
everything.
what? Oh fuck, what was it that they put me on? God damn it, why won't my coffee kick in? After being placed on my 5150, they gave me, damn it, does it start with a Z?
Zoloft,
No. Was it? I feel like Zoloft was one I tried, but there was like another,
Zan,
um, that, yeah,
Zofran,
no.
Zafran, Zoloft. So
Fuck, and
that
I
depends.
almost had it. It was on the tip of my tongue. Oh, you can't come back to me. It was, anyways, it was a complete 180. I take my medication and be zombied the fuck out. And I fucking hated it. I fucking hated it so hard. And then I told my mom, I was like, look, this shit is not for me. Okay? Pharma can eat the entirety of my asshole and get fucked.
Yeah.
Um, and so I started smoking weed medically, right? It was like suddenly I was like, oh, mom, I'm gonna try weed. Like I hadn't been smoking since I was 16. And, and like honestly, microdosing marijuana like really helped me. That
Yeah.
shit like was a game changer.
I'm actually really glad you
It
brought
helped
that up.
me to, yeah, same.
No,
Like it's
I'm really
fucking
glad you brought that up
releasing,
'cause
and it was like
I love
at a
talking
time
about
where
this
in
shit.
California, like yeah, like
Yeah.
and people, and when I would tell people that, they're like, "What are you doing for your depression and your anxiety?" And I was like, "Well, I smoke weed," and they're like, "Oh, you fucking pothead." And it's like, actually, no, I'm trying to heal myself because being on this bullshit medication, um, I'm still trying to think of the fucking name. It's really just like not helping. And I remember there was actually like one day, like I know that my healing is right generational, and it's got to start somewhere. And I know that my mom's inability to heal is not my problem and just her projections. But I remember very early on after my 5150, and I was like trying to figure out what my brain responded to, like how to heal and how to rewire myself. So I started microdosing, but at some point, like I did get emotionally dependent, right? You can't get physically dependent on
Yeah.
marijuana, but you can get the emotional dependence on anything. So I was smoking a little bit more. And there was one night I came home from work and I started smoking, but she was outside drinking with her boyfriend, who at the time, like, I fucking couldn't stand, and smoking cigars, like, and they were like arguing. So she was already in a mood. And she was like, let me take a hit off of that. And I was like, yeah, okay. And she said, you know, Marissa, you're not depressed. You don't have mental illness. You just wanted attention. You've got bills and responsibilities like everybody fucking else. That shit broke my fucking heart. That hurt so bad. That was like one of the like first times that I was like, I don't want to do this relationship that we have.
Yeah.
This is not it. This is the reason why I was on a 5150. Like, and the next morning, I wouldn't talk to her, and she was like, what did I say? Like, what happened last night? I don't remember. And I was like, fuck you.
She
I was
knew.
like, I'm
She
not.
knew
And
what
she
she
was like
did.
crying. She was like, please, please tell me, what did I do? And I was like, I'm not going to repeat what the fuck you said to me because no mother should ever talk to their child like that.
Yeah.
I'm
And
not going to, and like, I
no
didn't talk
level
to
of
her for a couple
intoxication
days.
ever forgives that because I'm sorry, like I never buy the intoxicated excuse because whatever you say while intoxicated
Yeah,
is something you mean. Like whether
exactly.
you're drunk, whether
Exactly. I
you're
was
high,
like,
like it is something that is
I
coming from
didn't,
somewhere
yeah.
true, you know?
And she was like, I didn't mean it. Whatever I said, I was like, that's the thing. Whatever I said, I didn't mean it. Like, so I gave her the silent treatment that she gave me most of my life, you know?
Good for
I
you.
was like, please don't, just don't. And I know you brought it up like a few minutes ago, but I want to circle back to the fact that you're like, I have to move away for my family. Like, people really don't understand that as hard as it is, it's fucking necessary. It is a flex to move
Yeah.
out of your hometown, move away from your family, like, because you gain new perspectives. You can heal yourself. You can't heal in the same environment that you got sick in.
You can't. You really can't. And I was trying to for so long. I was really trying to make it work because part of me was like,
So,
like this is part of my root chakra. Like I gotta try if if I can make it work, if I can really try to heal these relationships while being here, like how strong is my root going to be, But at some point, I had to accept that I am damaging my root more by staying here because I am allowing
Exactly.
myself to stay in an environment where I am not safe. I'm constantly just growing more and more resentful to
Invalidated.
everyone around me because of the invalidation. I'm
Yeah.
like, this is not good. It's not good for anyone. Like, we're all going to grow to hate each other. Like, I'm like, it's
It's not
healthier for me
healthy.
to leave.
Exactly. Exactly. But getting that distance and creating that
Yeah.
space, and it's like,
And I know my
it
family
is so
doesn't quite
vital.
see it yet, but like in time, we need some space. We need a time out from each other. So like the distance will be good. My mom and I thrived when I was in California. Having some distance is good. So I'm like, this will be good for us.
Yeah. 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 It really is like, I think I said something to somebody shortly after I moved from LA to Hawaii. It was like, somebody was like, oh my God, that's a big jump. Like, that takes balls. And I was like, honestly, like, I was presented with an opportunity. I would have kicked myself in the ass. Like, I felt it burning my stomach, the idea
Mm-hmm.
of saying no to that opportunity. And I said something, I was like, it would have killed me to stay. And because I know that it would have.
Yeah.
It was, is absolutely deteriorate. I was deteriorating. I was turning to ash from the inside out.
Oh yeah. I
And
should have told my grandfather. I'm like, I will kill myself if I stay here. Like I'm like, I am moving.
it's a whole thing.
Yeah.
It's, yeah, yeah. It's that intense. It's that intense. And I hate it when you try to bring up your shit and people are like, it wasn't that bad. Or you get from your parents like, yeah, because I'm the worst parent. It's like, don't do that shit.
Don't invalidate it.
I can't.
The feeling was
Don't
real. Like,
invalidate it.
yeah, the feeling was there, regardless of what other people's perspective on if it was a worthy reaction, whatever. It doesn't matter. Your feeling was there and it was real for you. Your truth is all that fucking
Yep.
matters for your experience. They have their truth, you got yours.
Let's talk about how it doesn't have to be something intense like a major catastrophe to trigger PTSD. Let's talk about how
Yes.
there's also a spectrum for fucking trauma. And let's talk
Yes.
about how narcissistic abuse is emotionally damaging and traumatizing. And let's
Yes.
talk about how the fact that like I
Also,
can't tell you how triggered I get watching Disney movies now, like Tangled and El Encanto.
oh
Encanto?
yeah, the
Yeah.
mom.
Like watching those, it's like, oh my God. Like, and my husband was like, why are you so angry right now watching Tangled? And I was like, because this bitch is like mother knows best. Like, oh, I'm the bad guy. Like, I can't tell you how fucking triggering it is to watch in an animated form my fucking life. It's like, I too am a survivor of narcissistic abuse. And like, understanding that growing up, because like growing up as a kid, like it's like, oh, this is just the way things are. But growing up as an adult and then moving away out of that situation, and like I married into a very calm white family that respects boundaries and shit. So I'm like,
Yeah.
it's jarring as fuck. And so
Your
it's like,
husband has a
oh,
super
this is what the
supportive mother.
possibilities.
Like super supportive mother who's just like chill as hell. Like Grandma Nancy is so
Dude,
chill.
dead ass. Dead ass. And you know what she did when we told her who we picked to take the kids, like should Bobby and I like die?
Mm-hmm.
You know what she did? Well, that's a good choice. Yeah, well, yeah. I think yeah, it makes sense. Yeah, that was a very good choice. You know what my mom did? I knew for a fact, like I was like, I'm not even gonna tell her that we picked somebody like to be a guardian, like in the event.
Yeah.
And like we were in LA and we are gonna do a baptism for my son because my family absolutely they're like, well, you're here, we're getting the baby baptized. And I was like, ugh, okay. And it was all them. They organized everything. I was like, I want nothing to do with this. I don't want to do anything with this. But anyways, that was a whole different story. And as we're getting ready for the baptism, my husband, who doesn't understand or didn't understand at the time, was like, oh yeah, did we tell you who we picked to be the guardians? And I was like, please shut the fuck up, right? And my mom was like, what? What? And he told her, and she was like, because it wasn't from that family. Because I was like, I don't want my family growing, I don't want my kids growing
Yeah.
up in this family. um, my mom shut the door, and she was like, I have to get ready. And the next day, she came to us crying, and she was like, I tried to shove it down deep because yesterday was a really important day for me, getting the baby baptized. It really hurt my feelings that that's when you chose to tell me that my family wasn't good enough to take care of the boy. And I was like, oh my God. And, but I was so triggered still in that people pleasing. I hadn't cut the cords from
Hmm.
my sacral, from my heart, from my solar plexus. Like I hadn't cut the energetic cords. Right. So I was like, Mom, it's just, you have to understand where, and then I was like trying to over explain and over reason. And like looking back, like there was another time she was like, oh, is that who would get my son if he were to die? And I was like, my son, actually, not yours,
Yeah.
my son. Yeah. Yes, that is who gets my kids. That's who we've decided are the best people for our children. Um, and like we were just talking about, like, I think, was it the other day that you and I were talking about my mom's coming, and so I've like already mentally prepared like the boundaries that I'm going to be setting
Yeah.
with her.
Which
And
is really
yeah,
good.
that was
That is really good planning on your part. That is like, and
getting into the
actually,
right mindset because at first my
yeah.
asshole clenched, and then I was like, you know what? This is a beautiful opportunity for me to show up for myself. So I'm really excited.
Yeah. Well, and actually, that's something I feel like we should talk about too, because I feel like a lot of people nowadays, the whole topic of cutting contact is such a hot one. Like, a lot more people are cutting contact. But I think, like, something for me that I've had to kind of process and realize too is that it's not always a black and white thing. My neurodivergent
It's
brain, when
not.
I first heard the concept of cutting contact, I thought it was like permanent. You block them on everything, you never talk to them again. Like just super
It's
cold.
taking
And for me, I
space.
was like, that's so, like, I was like, I that to me was too extreme. I'm like, I can't do that. Like, we both grew up in ethnic families. We're like, that's not a thing. You can't just never ever
Yeah,
talk to your family. Like, I mean, you could, but like, it's a lot harder to fully cut contact in that way. And like, there's just so much more. It's a hard thing. It's hard for anyone, but
it's a
there's
hard
just
thing.
so.
And actually, I was discussing that like with my mom. Like I was telling her, I was like, you know what? After my dad's gone, like I'm really, because my dad has Alzheimer's, right? It's early onset Alzheimer's, and the way that all of that worked out, like, it was really disappointing, but it was also very enlightening because it really showed me that I'm not respected or seen by my family, my dad's side of the family. And so I told my mom, I was like, hey, after dad's gone, like, I'm really not going to be talking to my sister. I'm not going to be talking to my uncle. Um, I'm not respected. I'm not seen. And that's not a table that I need to eat at. Like, and she was like, I don't know, Marissa. Life is short. And it's like, life is short. And I'm not going to spend it putting up with bullshit, disrespect, and miscommunication. Like, these are grown ass people who are way too fucking old to be acting like this.
Yep.
So it's, so it's like, so, and having that conversation with her, she was just like, I don't know, and she's like, family's everything. And it's like, and in that sense, I do agree. Family is everything.
Yes.
But
When
who
it's
makes up your family?
healthy
Is it the
family.
tribe? Is it the tribe that you set for yourself? Like you and I, we're family.
Oh
That's
yeah.
it.
Hmm.
There's, like it doesn't have to be a blood relation to be family. Like family is who's best for you, who's your support team, who's your
chosen
support system.
family chosen family all the way. And I feel like we also have to choose our blood relatives sometimes, like choose them
Exactly.
again as
Because,
family, because like, yeah, they might be blood family, but they might not be chosen family.
yeah, exactly. It's like, yeah, we could, we don't have to. We
Yeah,
don't have
just
to,
because
please.
we share DNA does not mean we're family
Oh,
automatically.
yeah.
you know
Stay in your lane and stay the fuck out of mine.
yeah.
Yeah,
Family dynamics are so hard. Nobody can traumatize you the way a relative can.
dead
But also,
ass.
on the other hand, nobody can help you heal the way like a good, strong family dynamic can. Like having a healthy family support system can be the most like uplifting, nurturing thing. But on the other hand, it could be
Yeah.
the most traumatizing fucking.
Yeah.
Again, the
Yeah. And it's
polarities.
all about, it's, yeah, your North Node and South Node.
Yeah.
Um, and I actually, I think, was it last night? Last night that I told you that I caught myself slipping, not putting myself at the top of my priority list. That should hit me like a train. But I was thinking about like my mom's upcoming visit and um, all the conversations that I've tried to have with my sister and things. It was like, even though it's not working out, working to heal my relationships with others has really been great practice for how I heal a relationship with myself
Mm-hmm.
and vice versa. Because, like, in order to have compassion for yourself and forgive yourself for not being better in that time, it really, sometimes you got to know what that compassion and that forgiveness looks like. And the best example is forgiving others and having compassion for others, understanding and working through, like, and so I thought about the ways in which I would speak to my mother. Do I speak to her the way that she's spoken to me most of my life? No, that's not going to get us anywhere. That's what I'm healing from.
Mm-hmm.
So if I can be vulnerable, if I can be gentle, even if she doesn't receive it, how aligning that is for me to come to myself. I don't have to be on the defense. I am no longer an animal backed into a corner, fearing, reacting. I am in my truth. I stand solid and I'm stronger than ever. And so that's how I'm going to be moving forward with the relationships that I want to heal, and especially the relationship I have with myself. It's really hard. Nobody really talks about how hard it is, how extremely brutal it is to
Mm-hmm.
look at the worst parts of yourself, all the worst things you've done that have not only hurt others, but destroyed your sense of self. Nobody talks about that.
Oh
And
yeah,
being able
and
to
to
look
have
at yourself and
compassion
like,
for that person and to
yeah,
actually like forgive them for the choices they made because you
yeah,
have to forgive them.
exactly.
You can't hold on to the regret and the hate 'cause it just hurts you. But it's really fucking hard because like
It's,
you know the consequences of those decisions and like all of that. So it's so
yeah,
easy to want to blame and put all the hate on what if I had just done you know.
yeah. Like the thing is, the time passed, and but what are we learning now? What are we
Yeah,
learning from that?
you can't go back. Something I this one creator on TikTok, she put it perfectly. She was saying, you got to forgive your past self because you were making the best choice you could have made in that moment. You thought you were, you
Exactly.
know, like
Yeah.
as like in that situation, you were in a totally different space. The space you're in now, you would make a different decision, but the person you were then, you got to give them a little
Yeah.
bit of a different grace because it's a totally different perspective. And that has
Yeah.
completely helped me. And I still have to constantly remind myself too, but that's normally like what I tell myself when I pause. I'm like, wait a second. I was in a very different place back then, you know, and I start looking at it, I'm like, how depressed was I? You know, was I taking care of myself? Was I eating right? That's actually been a huge thing I've had to learn too, of like actually like slowing the fuck down and going, okay, let's really parent the shit out of ourselves like every day. When did I drink water last? When did I fucking eat? Like
Yeah.
literally
And
going
what
through
did I
step by
eat? Was
step.
it an Oreo or did I have an orange?
Yeah, when's the last time I had something that was like fresh and not processed? Like, you know, it's all the
Mm-hmm.
shit that you hear, and it sounds so fucking annoying because some of it is like capitalist marketed shit to us that's supposed to make us feel bad
Yeah.
about not having the money to do shit. So, like, I do see that spectrum.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, some of it is true. Like, you do have to drink water, you do have to eat something that isn't just an Oreo, you know, as great as Oreos are.
Yeah.
Sometimes your body needs some fruit or like a vegetable.
I gotta tell you, when I was whole foods, plant-based, that's when I felt physically the best and it helped mentally. However, I had like once I moved to Hawaii, like being vegan was really hard, right? Because it's expensive as shit. It's
Yeah.
expensive as shit, and I was working constantly to avoid being in the house. because of the toxic environment that like was created from me moving in here. Like, and so like I know that I was chemically imbalanced for a while, and like that was some fucked up shit, you know? So it's like it really matters how
Yeah, so like
you
all the
treat
choices
your
you made
body, what you
there,
put in.
yeah, like you can't fully regret or blame yourself for like some of the choices you might not be as proud of during that time period
My
because
brain wasn't.
yeah,
Yeah.
you weren't as set up for success as you could have been. You were doing your best, but like, you know, like that was me when I first moved to LA. I'm like I was living off of fucking blocks of tofu and like a one vegan cake. There was a period where I would just buy a $16 vegan cake from Whole Foods, and that would be my breakfast, lunch, and
Oh,
dinner for as long as I could make it last because it was carbs and it was
damn.
filling. And I look back and I'm like, yeah, no wonder I was depressed and crying my eyes out every night and just making chaotic decisions. Like I was living off of sugar and air.
Yeah, processed sugar. It's like, and so this has been a debate. Like, um, and I don't understand like why it's a debate because Bobby, Bobby will come at me and it's like, oh my God, that's literally not a thing. Sugar is sugar, and I was like, there's a difference between real sugar and processed sugar, like natural sugar and processed. Like, it
You
is
can
natural
feel it
sugar,
in how
yes.
your
It's
body,
been through a refinery.
yeah. Like I can always tell
Like,
the difference between a sugar high from processed sugar and just me having natural sugars and being a little bit more energized.
exactly. I was like, there's a difference. He's like, it's literally not a thing. In truth, and I like literally send him like articles. I'm like, this bitch just took off her fucking diaper. I thought she was falling asleep. If you pee on my couch,
Oh my gosh, she's such an Aries.
she's such an Aries and she thinks it's hilarious. She's laughing.
Of course she is. Literally such a fire sign. Like just trying to get butt naked for no reason. Like
Dead ass. Like, have I told you that we had to like put her in Bo's old underpants to like we have to put that on over her diaper to keep her from taking off her diaper. It's like so. I'm like, I'm just gonna potty because if you're gonna be wearing underpants anyways, like
yeah. Actually, wait, that just reminded me of something earlier when you were talking about like the money thing and feeling it around your heart. I feel like that's the
yeah.
Taurus energy going on right now because it's the Venus,
Ooh.
but
Yeah,
Taurus is
yeah,
all about like finances, is more material stuff. So it might be some Taurus energy shit.
yeah, yeah. Literally, yeah. It feels like it, but and it was also yeah. It was all tied in. I was like, what? Because I was like, again, trust. I was like, why is it that like when I say like I can trust myself, my heart opens up. It's like, oh, because of the relationship that I was taught to have
Hmm.
with myself. And so like now you're right. I feel more grounded, very Taurus energy. And if you take out my AirPods, so help you God. And what? Stop. You think you're funny? Well, now you have pants. Now you can't take off your diaper. Did I go through all that trouble and
Babies
put
are
them on
truly the
backwards?
most disrespectful
Son of
creatures ever. No boundaries.
no boundaries, none. None at all.
Just I'm gonna shove my
Oh,
fingers into every orifice. This is my mouth. This is my nose.
you know what? And like when I was breastfeeding Bo, like he'd shove his finger like right in my mouth. When I'm breastfeeding her, she likes to finger my belly button, and it's fucking hilarious. Like I live for that shit. Actually, I'm like, this is because she just.
Just stimming away. Actually, that was one of my stims too when I was a baby or a toddler. It was belly button picking, and I also liked the elbows, like elbow skin. My grandpa had the most satisfying one because he just had a lot of it, and I would just go and like pick at it. Like,
Yeah, you don't like it? You don't like not having personal space? I made you and you can't say no yet, so I'm gonna put on your cheeks. Mm. Thought you were hanging out with Miss Rachel. Yeah, go get her. Go get Miss Rachel. Go ahead. Tell her I said hi. Yep, just like that. Yep, very good. Okay, you wait. I love you. Go on. Go see Miss Rachel. Yeah, bye.
She's thinking about it.
She's just staring at me, and she waved, and now she's off. I gotta tell you, pretty impressed actually that she left us alone for a while. She was just sitting on the couch. I thought she fell asleep until she popped up with like her diaper hanging off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's she's a lot more independent than the other one. A lot more comfortable being on her own. She's a lot more grounded.
Well, she has that Taurus energy in her chart, though.
Yeah, she really
And I
does.
feel like that
She
helps
really does.
too. Bo's got way more, like
Gemini,
a, yeah,
Pisces.
more like upward manic energy.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I really feel like they're both like destined for great things. Like this one has a different kind of energy about her, and she just feels so divinely protected. I can't tell you how many times a day this bitch like narrowly misses a corner with her temple, right? Like she misses a corner by a cunt hole, and it's constantly all day. I'm like,
I feel like she's
how
gonna
do
be a
they
good
survive?
counterbalance for Bo. Like I feel like when they get older,
Yeah.
they're gonna balance each other out perfectly. Because she's definitely gonna, I think, help to keep him out of trouble. She'll probably get him into trouble. Like I feel
Oh
like she'll
yeah.
manipulate him into some trouble, but she'll also help to keep him alive. I think when they're like teenagers, because I feel like she'll be that voice of logic that's like, "Don't be a fucking idiot," you know?
Yeah.
Like
Maybe don't
no
jump
offense to
from
Bo,
that cliff.
Bo is a little Bo can be a little more impulsive and free spirited. So
Bo
I feel like
Bo
Bo's
is more of a risk taker. He's like, I'll think
yeah
about the consequences afterwards.
adrenaline
And then
junkie. Like he is the type to just jump off of the cliff because he saw somebody do it once, so he thinks it's
he was
possible.
like, oh, that shit looks like fun. And she will go batshit and she does what he does after she's calculated the risk.
Yeah. So she'll be doing the
Yeah.
math for everything, and she'll be the one being like, "Don't fucking do it."
The math isn't mathing on this one. So um but yeah, they're yeah, good balance for each other. At first I was a little worried because Bobby's a Libra, I'm a Capricorn, she's an Aries, and Bo's a Gemini, right? So it's like three cardinal signs
That's why
and
I
then
gotta
a
look at the
Gemini.
whole chart. Like I'm
The
definitely
whole
in my
chart,
phase
the
of
whole
looking at everything these days because the sun sign really doesn't tell you jack shit.
yeah,
I hate when people are like, "Can you guess my sun sign?" I'm like, "No, I fucking can't because I'm guessing more of your Mars sign because you're fucking asking me this question right now." You know, I'm like, you're coming at me with aggression. Like this is not. I'm like, you expect me to gain your sun sign from this? No.
yeah. And I love it when like because Bobby's like an atheist and he's also just like the spiritual shit. He's like good for you, but also it's not real, right? And so like when I'm like when I mention the astrology signs to him, he's like, that's not how anything works, but okay, okay. And I'm like, oh my God,
Lately, I've been
you
so
know what?
hyper fixated on connecting astrology to psychology. That's literally what Carl Jung did. So I always think it's funny when people say that astrology isn't real because it literally is psychology. Like it is the basis for fucking psychology. Like the hierarchy pyramid of needs, like all that fucking shit. The Myers-Briggs profile thing that everyone fucking
There it is.
loves.
Yep,
All the neurotypicals love their EFB, whatever. That's based on psychology. It's literally, or not psychology, astrology. It's literally fucking astrology because he was an astrologer. Like I'm like all the best scientists and psychologists were fucking astrologers.
like so. There you go.
Yeah, I'm having a lot of fun, like kind of finding all the like astrology energies in different diagnoses. Like I'm my like I don't know, my ADHD 100% is all the fire signs in my chart. Like that's the Aries, the Sag, I'll like pinpoint different things. I'm like, okay, this specifically, this trigger, like this reaction, Aries, or like I don't know. It's been my new
Ooh, I
hyperfixation
think you
fun
cut
thing.
out for a second because I just got a reconnecting and then your percentage went up.
Oh, okay. I don't know if that part
Um,
got cut out then. I was just saying I've
hmm,
been very hyperfixated
yeah,
on
yeah.
yeah.
All of it connects. All of it, psychology, science, and the spiritual, like some people call it manifestation, some people call it prayer, like, but nobody's denying the existence of the
Yeah,
energy and how it all aligns. Like, it's,
there is such a big connection. Like science and spirituality to me are running parallel to each other. And so many people are like so resistant to seeing the connection, but they are connected, and I feel like they have to be connected because I feel like the like science is the grounding force for spirituality, but spirituality is the crown energy. So it's like I feel like right there in
yeah,
between, you have the whole chakra system just trying to
yeah,
balance itself
finding
out.
the balance in both is like becoming the hematite quartz that we are
Yeah.
balancing. We are zipping up. We're zipping up. Fucking love hematite quartz, fire quartz, whatever the fuck you want to call it. That is one of my favorite fucking crystals.
It's so fucking fun. I fucking love that one. It was just pretty too.
Fucking gorgeous. I got that shit. I got a flame for Bobby,
Yes.
and we put it like on a little light base. I love that bitch. Sometimes I just touch it, like right in the morning. I'm like, and I can just feel it zipping up for me.
I can't
All
wait
the
to
crystals I
move
got
into
him.
a
This
apartment so
season.
I can actually set up my altar and have all my crystals properly out.
Yes.
I feel like that's why I still don't feel settled. That's definitely what it is. I don't have like my nest. The autistic side
You
of me
haven't
needs like my
started.
nest, you know?
You don't have, and you're so sensitive to the energy, like not having that gritting is like,
It makes a difference. I mean, I literally slept with my altar underneath my bed every single night. So like not having that right now, I think is definitely throwing me off.
yeah.
Yeah.
This has been a good
This was a
session,
really good
and
session. This is our
yeah,
longest one too, but we really like dove in. I feel like this was
we really
therapy. I mean, it always
dead
is,
ass.
but like
It always
we
is,
really dove in
but this
today.
was therapy,
Yeah,
and yeah,
cathartic. I feel good.
even with a little tiny
Well,
unexpected guest.
she helped to ground us.
Yeah, thank you, thank you. Okay, all right.
Okay, I
I'm
love
gonna
you.
stop the
Well,
recording.
yeah.
Wait, wait.
We'll stop the recording. We'll see how the